Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Lean on us.
We are here for you.
You matter.
You are not alone.
Are you feeling overwhelmed? Not sure where to turn? The National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there for you 24/7. Call or text 988 or chat at 988sc.org. Whether you're having an emergency or you know someone who needs support now, they can help you take the next step towards finding hope and healing.
There is hope. 988sc.org.
Hey, it's Jim Chapman reminding you that if you have not heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. 1, it's free. 2, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. 3, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's really everything you need to make a podcast in only one place. It makes it easy, folks. So do me a favor, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
October signifies a lot of things. Hunting season, fall weather, Halloween, but it also signifies a very important month for all women across the area. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this special pink edition of Local Leaders, the podcast. Joining the show today to discuss breast cancer and your options in Livingston Parish is Radiologic Technologist and Mammographer Wendi Chapman of Women's Hospital. Wendi, welcome to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Thanks. Hey, guys.
So Wendi is obviously a Chapman. She's actually my wife, and she has spent a long time at Women's Hospital taking care of women and their breast cancer screenings and things of that nature. I thought it would be perfect to bring her on the show during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As you can see, we have pinked out the set here at Local Leaders, the podcast. I've even got the pink shirt on today. And I just want to kind of dive into it with you. We're going to go into everything that Women's Hospital makes available in the way of breast cancer prevention. But I want to get a little history on Wendi Chapman first. Where were you born and raised, and where did you attend high school?
Well, I'm from Denham Springs. I've lived here all my life. Denham Springs High School graduate, 1992.
Go Jackets.
Yes, go Jackets. Always diehard Yellow Jacket. And then what else did you want to know after that?
So you attended high school here in Denham Springs. Okay. And then shortly after high school, you had to make a decision to make. I'm sure it crossed your mind. What career path would you want to choose? What led you to a career in X-ray, and what college did you attend for that study?
Okay. So originally I was just going to work for my dad as a secretary. My dad owned a business in Livingston Parish.
Several grocery stores.
Yes. Yeah. And then the day we're sitting at graduation practice, they're coming up to me asking what college you want your transcript sent to. Well, I didn't know at the time. I just threw out there Southeastern. So I started out Southeastern in respiratory therapy. Got to know a few people at school. We got to talking, and that was not what I needed to go into. So then I changed majors into therapy, and then I met a friend of mine in a class. Her name is also Wendi, and she lives in Livingston Parish also. She proceeds to tell me she's going to go to school in Mississippi. She's going to be an X-ray tech. I said, what is that? So I didn't do nothing but leave her that day and went and checked out to see what that was about. And I said, I might want to do this. A friend of mine was in nursing school, and she was at Our Lady Lake college, and she says, "Oh, they have X-ray school over here." I said, "Because I wasn't leaving my daddy to go to Mississippi." So I applied, and I ended up getting in, and that's where I graduated from, and that's where I started off being an X-ray tech.
Yeah. So, X-ray back in the X-ray technologist or radiologic technologist, as they're professionally called, those back in that time frame were, it was, believe it or not, a very sought after career choice for somebody. There was a major shortage of people in your field back in the mid 90s. And so this was a time in which if you were a radiologic technologist, you could really make some good money. You could also be what they called a traveling X-ray tech and make an exorbitant amount of money. So it was a great career choice. Now, obviously, fast forward to today, everybody figured out it was kind of a great career choice. So the field had become kind of flooded with X-ray techs. Yes. And of course, all of that controls things such as the incoming salary, things like that. The higher the demand, I guess, the more stuck in that salary position you could get. A good example right now is welders and things like that. I mean, they're in short supply. These guys that do trades for a living, and they make some really good money. And the reason is nobody's going into trades anymore like they used to. So it was very similar in the X-ray field. But I don't want to skip past college yet, because when you finally decided that you were going to go into X-ray school at Our Lady of the Lake College, you actually excelled in it. You jumped in with both feet. You were vice president of the Beta Epsilon fraternity in your junior year there. Your senior year, you were president of the Beta Epsilon fraternity. And you were also honored, and this is something you'll never hear from Wendi Chapman, but as her husband, I like to brag on her every now and then. Wendi Chapman in 1997 was actually recognized as the state of Louisiana Student of the Year for the entire state. So quite an honor. And you'll never hear that out of her mouth, because she's a very modest person, to say the least. So it's safe to say you know what you're talking about when it comes to X-ray. Let's put it that way. I think it's great that to have lifelong residents who are as knowledgeable, honestly, as you are in your field, that stayed here in Livingston Parish. You are a lifelong LP girl. Oh. And so I think that's fantastic that you kind of never left. You stayed here. As a matter of fact, you met a guy along the way who had a lot of dreams, and that's about it. But there was no way I was talking you out of leaving Livingston Parish, was there?
No, there was not. And that was your stipulation.
And probably a great thing. I love this parish, and had it been easy to convince you otherwise, who knows where you would have ended up. But you brought me here rather than the other way around, and I'm sure glad you did. So at some point, you chose Woman's Hospital as your employer. How many years have you been at Woman's, and why Woman's Hospital specifically?
I've been at Woman's 22 years now. Once you get out of school and you start trying different hospitals, you see what you like and what you don't like. And I had always heard good things about Woman's. It's real hard to get on at Woman's, as everyone knows. Once you get there, you usually retire there. So it's very hard when we have openings, to try to get on there.
So they had a great reputation as far as how they take care of their employees.
Yes,
things of that
it's a very family-oriented hospital. We have a great team in our department. We're very family. Everyone is like family. We were with them. You're with your work family a lot more than sometimes your family. So I had always heard good things, and it just so happened a spot came open, and a friend of mine told me about it. I applied, and I was able to get on.
Fantastic. And you've been there 22 years, as you say. That's a long time to be at any employment, especially at your young age of 30. That's really phenomenal that you've been there that long. You see how I interjected that?
Yeah, I just got that.
She's really not 30. She's 31. She stopped then. At what age do you recommend, Wendi? Because I want to go ahead and get into breast cancer. You are obviously someone who is extremely experienced in this field. At what age do you recommend ladies start to get a mammogram?
We recommend people have mammograms, a baseline at least between the ages of 35 and 40. After age 40, we recommend you have one once a year.
So, and that was going to be my next question. It was, should this be done annually? And yes, once a year, you should get a mammogram. Now, is this only if you're seeing a problem or you feel like you have a lump, or is this period? You need to get it checked out. Okay. So can you get breast cancer at an earlier age than that, such as your 20s and 30s?
Yes, you can actually. So that's a different situation. What happens when you are younger? Number one, most people you will notice something if you'll have a lump or you will have breast pain. That's the biggest things young girls come in for. It is very recommended that you get that checked out as soon as you notice that. We have seen people extremely young, probably 18 has probably been our youngest that we have seen with breast cancer. So not as common necessarily, but nowadays it's a lot different. You do see them a lot younger. The key point to that is you need to get it checked out once you're feeling something, once you're noticing something different. You also have the other end of first degree family, like your mother had breast cancer, your sister, your brother, your father. A lot of them recommend having a mammogram. When those people were diagnosed at a young age, they recommend you, say, 10 years prior, you should be starting earlier.
So if you have a family history of breast cancer, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and maybe in your 20s, get your first mammogram and
discuss it with your doctor. Yes, go see a breast surgeon even, just to get on the right track, especially if you're noticing differences and for your family history reasons.
I gotcha. And so we talked about some of the warning signs that you should look for, especially if you're in the younger generation where you're not necessarily at the time in your life where you're thinking about a mammogram. But if you start noticing, as you said, breast pain.
Yes.
Okay. Lumps.
There's lumps. Is breast pain. There is maybe having a red area on the breast. Maybe it feels hot. Maybe that breast is swollen. There's also what we look for also is brown and bloody discharge. That can always denote problems. You have dimpling of the skin. You have what we call peau d'orange, where just a part of the skin can look like an actual orange peel on the outside. Got you. Any of those,
you definitely want to get those checked out, especially if you're in that younger generation and you just don't have your mind on mammograms at 25 years old. But if you start noticing some issues there, doesn't hurt to take a look. Sometimes it's absolutely nothing. Most times probably it's, more often than not, it's nothing. But
nowadays you just don't ever know. And breast pain, lots of people have breast pain. Breast pain can come from lots of things. That's a majority of the problems people come in with. But breast pain can come from a number of different things. Majority of it comes from caffeine, too much Coke, tea, coffee, eating a lot of chocolate. The type of breast tissue you have, what we see most times, the fibrocysticness, the caffeine interacts with it and causes a lot of this problem. You also could be drinking energy drinks. You could be certain vitamins. Different things cause different issues with breast pain. Okay. Some people do everything right and they still have the breast pain. So, but it's best to always check that out.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you, and you talk about pain, there's hesitation sometimes for people, for ladies, they're nervous about getting breast cancer screenings because they're nervous that it's going to hurt, a whole lot. It's a painful procedure. Tell us about the pain associated with breast cancer screenings.
We try not to hurt you, number one.
Very good.
Certain people have bad experiences, and I understand that, but it's still an important thing to do. You know, some people think they only can go to the one place that gives them the problem of pain. Try somebody else out. Your insurance goes to different facilities. Different people do mammograms a different way. Honestly, it's not that bad. And most people I get, they say at the end, I was scared for nothing. It's really not that bad. You know, we try to make it as comfortable as possible. Granted, it is not the most comfortable thing to do, but at the same time, there was this one saying, I can't really remember exactly word for word how it went, but say a pinch today is worth a whole lifetime of being saved and not having any kind of issues, you know.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, the whole point of the matter is, being uncomfortable for, say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is a lot better than being diagnosed with something that is treatable and
those people go through a whole lot, and it's not just a couple of week deal. It is, we're talking years. They have to, months of, depending if they got chemo, radiation you go through. You have your surgeries to go through. This is a long process. The earlier you catch something, the better.
Agreed. So you're part of the mobile mammography unit that travels all over South Louisiana conducting breast cancer screenings. I want to get directly into the options in Livingston Parish with the Women's Hospital Mobile Mammogram unit. But I first want to get some information on the types of sites you go to. Women's makes it really convenient. They make it convenient from the fact that they don't expect you to have to go directly to Women's Hospital to get a mammogram. You will actually come to them. There's a lot of larger sites that you go to, like Plants, for example, where they have a huge female population of employees. And all these people have to do is walk out in their own parking lot. And there is a state-of-the-art huge mobile mammography bus where they can get on that bus. They'll see your smiling face and you'll provide them with a mammogram. But tell me some of the types of places you go to.
Oh, we go to all kinds of different places. Wow.
Churches?
We go to different churches. We go to a lot of businesses, try to, we can't make it any easier for it. We're pulling up in the driveway.
Well, what types of business?
The business, okay, so
name some that you go to.
I can't really name those.
Okay, what you go to prisons?
We go to the prison.
Interesting. So if you're a prisoner and you're watching this show, Wendy's going to be at that prison. What is it, Hunt? Y'all go to Elaine Hunt?
No, LCIW.
Okay, I didn't know which one you went to. It's okay.
That's a men's is Hunt's.
Well, hey, I haven't attended prison.
A lot of businesses we go to are ones that it can be a plant. It can be just a insurance company. It can be
retirement homes.
Like I do nursing homes. We can do retirement homes. Really any business, doctor's offices, we work in conjunction with another company, and we'll go to Walmart and we'll be in the parking lot. We've done Carter's in Albany, actually, or Livingston, rather,
Okay, so let me ask you this. We don't have to list them all, but let me ask you this. Do you have a limitation on the amount of employees someone has? What if someone calls and they say, hey, I would love to get the mobile mammography unit out to my facility. I've got plenty of room. Is there a limit to the amount of people that they have to have before you will consider that, or does that matter?
Well, we usually try to have at least 15 at least for a starter. Okay. They'll call us, and first we're going to talk to you about what kind of parking you have. That way we can figure out, can we get the buses in? Can we get them out?
Right. It has to be large enough to fit the mobile mammography bus in the facility and still be able to allow parking for their patrons or whoever.
Yes. And then we don't need any hookups. We're self-sufficient. We basically give you a schedule. You try to fill it up.
So who would you contact if you were a business? Let's just say you were a large cabinet shop, for example, and you had several female employees that you wanted to make it easy for them. Maybe you were interested in using your site for the public to just be able to come and have mammograms at that site and make it convenient. Who would you contact at Women's Hospital?
You just call our radiology department and ask for, you can ask for me or Lisa. We kind of coordinate.
Lisa who?
Lisa Baker.
Okay.
Sorry. You can call 924-8267. You just say, and you just tell them, I'm looking for the mobile mammography bus to come out, and they'll get the message to us, and someone's going to call you back, and we'll talk to you.
Very good. Now, I would assume all LP ladies may be surprised to know, or not all of them, but some of them may be surprised to know that the Mammo unit comes to Livingston Parish. Many areas in Livingston Parish. One specifically that I know of is Dixon Medical right here in Denham Springs. Y'all come out here once a month and perform mammograms. So that's 12 times a year. They're right here in Denham Springs. Now, I do want to mention, and you were kind enough to bring me a sheet today, so I'm just going to read these off of here real quick. But it's not just Dixon Medical in Denham Springs that y'all go to. You go to Cypress Point Family Medical in Albany. You go to RKM Primary Care in both Livingston and Springfield. In Watson, you go to Mandy's Primary Health Care. You even go to Maurepas. You go to Riverside Family Medical in Maurepas. So these are some other places right here in Livingston Parish. It looks like 6 places that you go to in this parish where you don't have to drive in Baton Rouge, ladies. I know there's a lot of ladies out there that they just don't want to fight Baton Rouge traffic. They would rather chew their fingernails off than go to Baton Rouge and have to deal with the traffic, have to deal with the hospital, and have to deal with all that. So Woman's makes it easy. You folks make it easy. You go to all these different sites, and incidentally, if your name's not on this list and you're a family medical center somewhere in Livingston Parish, you're interested, you heard Miss Chapman say earlier, you can certainly contact them, and they would get with you on the possibility of having the mobile mammography bus travel to your destination. So I love the fact that you have so many options in Livingston Parish, and you come out. Pretty much, we'll use the Denham Springs example just because that one's local to exactly where I'm podcasting from right now. But you go the same, is it the first week of the month or does that change or how does that work?
So we go with the old Dixon, which they call it now Sage. I think it's Sage Specialty Group. So we go there the first Wednesday of every month. And we usually go to Mandy's Primary Care, which is out in Watson, usually towards maybe a Wednesday or a Tuesday towards the end of the month. It just depends because different places we go once a month, 2 times a year, 4 times a year, everywhere is something different.
I see. So let me ask you this. I'm going to give you a hypothetical here. Okay, I'm a female and I need to get a mammogram. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to walk up that mobile mammography bus right there in Denham Springs and I'm going to get it. Or do I have to make an appointment? Do I have to have a referral? Kind of take me through the process. This is where I hear a lot of ladies get confused. They see the bus. You can't miss it when you're driving down Florida Boulevard. The problem is they have no idea how to get in there.
Okay, so there's different options here. Okay, so yes, you can come up to us. We rather have appointments just with the COVID going on right now, and we try to, keep everybody spaced. But if you don't have an appointment, please do stop and ask. We require that you have seen a doctor within a year. You need to have a written order with you unless it's a doctor that's on one of our standing order lists. And that's so long, I can't really say all those names.
Yeah, you can call
But just ask us, we can tell you. Just stop by and we can look on the list and tell you. And then you come on in and we'll get your insurance information. We'll go through that process and you just get your mammogram and you're good to go. Now you may have to wait in your car if we have someone in there at the time. Like I say, we're still trying to do spacing and but we can get you done.
So you mentioned insurance. Tell me about that. What type of insurances? And I know you can't go through. I would assume you accept most insurance.
Most insurances, yes. There's only a select few that we don't take. And pretty much everyone, of course, we do the 3D mammograms on the bus also. It's just like at the hospital. And pretty much all insurance are paying for the 3D now. You know, that used to be a big issue when 3D first come out. But everyone's paying for that now for screening. If you don't have insurance, we have other means to help you out also.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Make the most of your holidays by celebrating Christmas at Biltmore. Enjoy a breathtaking tour of America's largest home, filled with shimmering Christmas trees and adorned in all its Yuletide glory. Then, don't miss your last chance to experience our immersive digital art exhibit, Italian Renaissance Alive, during its final weeks. Save with online ticket discounts at Biltmore.com.
Okay.
And also, if you don't have a doctor, we have other means to help you out also. Please stop and ask.
There you go. You can stop by and ask that. Do you accept Medicaid?
Yes.
Okay. So that's
Medicaid, Medicare, all private insurances pretty much.
fantastic.
There might be one or two Medicares we don't take, but it's very few.
Okay. So for further information, all you got to do is ask when you see that bus. Now, you mentioned the spacing. You mentioned COVID a little bit. So with COVID-19, it's important for your patients to feel safe, even away from Women's Hospital and on the mobile mammography bus. What steps have you taken on the mobile mammography unit to ensure the safety of both you and your patients?
So the registration clerk does not bring the patient in right next to her anymore. So now all your information is usually asked out in our little waiting area. So since that's the case, now our spacing is a little different, and we don't usually have more than two people on a bus at a time. We may have to ask you to stay in your car for a few minutes just so we can finish with the personal information of a patient before we bring you in. After each patient, we're wiping down the seats. We're wiping down where you've touched. We've wiping the doorknobs down. Not that we weren't doing these things before, but it's even more so now.
Yeah, and I'm finding that with a lot of the medical folks that I've been talking to. Before COVID, a lot of these medical facilities were operating as if there was COVID. They just kind of maybe even advanced beyond your normal disinfecting, after the COVID issue became aware. Everybody knew that it existed. Then it kind of doubled your protection there from a sanitation standpoint. So,
and most people now, they're not wanting to go to the hospital. They're still a little leery about that. And I've had a few patients are talking how they rather come on the bus now.
Sure.
Which is true. You walk on the bus, it's very small. You don't have very much to touch and be around. So you pretty much, and you're not on there more than about 15 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And speaking of COVID, in March, the mobile mammography unit was parked, for lack of a better term. Mobile mammos were just kind of halted completely. And, speaking as your husband, you were literally on the front line at Women's Hospital, literally pre-screening everyone who entered the hospital for COVID symptoms. And you limited, obviously the people that were able to go in to patient only. In most cases, of course, Woman's was in a ultra special position in that you had a lot of babies in that hospital that were preemies. And those are very, very sensitive situations. But I'm sure from a standpoint of being a mother, you had to deal with a lot of people that that they were upset about this. You know, they're walking up to the hospital, they're going to get a screening. Maybe they're going to get an ultrasound and their mother's with them or whatever. And you're like, or husband, and you're like, whoa, you can go in, but you can't. And that
was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine it was.
Because not only that, you know, you're trying to protect everyone, employees and the patients in the hospital, but you got to think you have doctor's offices, and the doctor's offices, they had their own requirements. So it wasn't necessarily some of that, all of the hospital. Some of it is your doctor's office didn't want anyone with you.
Yeah.
And that was hard to tell someone their husband can't find out what the gender is with you today. Can't go for your first ultrasound today. Mothers could not go with their young daughters, to these appointments. It was a little upsetting.
Sure. And you folks were, putting yourself in a lot of harm's way, because back then in March, nobody knew. Nobody knew really what was going on with COVID, including the federal government. Nobody knew. So the dangers involved, definitely we erred on the side of caution. But at the same time, we had no idea if you're going to work and you're going to bring it home and give it to your kids. But all of you ladies and men that work at Women's Hospital, you kind of just went to work, didn't you? It was never a thought of I'm going to stay home and just kind of play it safe. You went to work the next morning that all this occurred the same way you did the day before. So I thought that deserved mentioning, because all of us appreciate that. And we definitely recognize the risk that all of you took and undertook by just doing your job and going above and beyond what any of us would expect.
We all pretty much is, okay, you have to come together and you just have to do it. Of course, the bus was out for 3 months. They didn't want us back on the road yet.
Yeah.
You were only seeing a small amount of patients with problems. And, you still have pregnant people. And there's a lot of pregnant people in Baton Rouge. I noticed that, but you have to just take the bull by the horns and do what you got to do, because you got to come together as a hospital and do what you need to do for the patients.
Absolutely. And
that's what we're there for.
Definitely deserve recognition. And it's a very selfless field. Anything involved in what all of you do at the hospitals. And we're sure appreciative of that. Now, the Susan G. Komen Foundation is probably the leading foundation for donations for breast cancer, definitely the most well-known. I'll be linking the foundation in the comments section of this podcast. If you find yourself so inclined, they are always accepting donations there, and it's a great time to donate during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Race for the Cure, Wendy, that's actually by far their largest fundraiser that they have every year. Unfortunately, this year with COVID, they had to stop the race. They did not have it. As of now, it's scheduled for 2021, and you can actually go on the internet and schedule to enroll in that race. As of now, of course, these things are very fluid with COVID, but as of now, you can schedule for next year anyway. But being that it was the largest fundraiser for them, and they totally missed out on that this year, they can use, I'm sure, Wendy, all the donations they can get. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. That helps funding for patients that don't have insurance. It helps funding for research. It helps funding with helping some patients with their treatments.
Yeah, and there's been some great
They have clinical
donations.
trials they do. There's lots of things it helps out with that has to do with breast cancer.
Well, and over the years, they've had some well-known athletes donate to Women's Hospital. Matter of fact, one of your buses
I forgot.
Was donated by Brady James.
Yeah,
who,
he's a real
Brady
nice
James
guy.
Was a very nice guy. You've met him personally. Actually, he was a linebacker for LSU. McHugh remembers Brady James, great linebacker for LSU, but also a very giving person and a very good person. And Brady James, when he was with the Cowboys, actually donated the money to buy the very first mobile mammography unit, I believe it was, wasn't it? For Women's Hospital. So you've had some well-known people give to Women's Hospital. What a great job you folks do over there. Now, one thing I also wanted to mention is some facts with regard to breast cancer. Some of these may or may not surprise you, Wendy. Some of these you're going to know, but I thought they were worth mentioning. For example, breast cancer is the second leading cause of death among women. Only second to lung cancer, believe it or not, which is, I would believe that lung cancer also, I'm sorry, second leading cause of cancer. I said death. Second leading cause of cancer in women is breast cancer, only bested by lung cancer. So very serious. Now here's one who shocked. Here's one that shocked me personally. And any woman has about a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer. 1 in 8.
Yes, that's true.
If you're sitting in a room and you're woman number 10, it's likely 2 of those are going to have breast cancer. That's pretty shocking. I did not realize it was that common. Now, is breast cancer preventable?
Breast cancer is not preventable, but it is curable.
Treatable.
And treatable. The sooner you find out you have a breast cancer and you get it treated, if you can catch it early, you can prevent it from spreading. The sooner the better with that. And you have, within a 5-year survival rate, a 99% chance of no reoccurrence. And
that's a huge thing. So basically, that's why these mammograms are ultra important, because if caught early, you can function in life with very little issues. You certainly, if caught early, it will not spread to somewhere else. Not
body.
All
breast cancers can you feel or have problems with too. You gotta, people don't realize that either. There are things that breast cancers that you can get that do not have a lump with them. We have things called calcifications that can be cancerous. Majority are benign, but not all the time do they come with a lump, and you're not going to feel it, and you're not going to have a breast pain with it either. So it's real important to always stay, because things change from year to year. I've seen it. People don't realize the importance of that. Some people wait 5 and 10 years after having a mammogram, and then they come back in, and then they end up having it's a big issue.
What I hear a lot is it's just kind of easy to put off when you don't have an issue. And, I'll do it next year. How many of you ladies out there have said that, I'm going to do it next year. I just don't have time to do that right now. Or, once a year, when they're coming to your town, there's 6 places in Livingston Parish that y'all come. You couldn't make it any easier. So ladies, get your mammograms on that. I do want to say, men, can men get breast cancer? Yes, they can. Something I did not realize, most men don't realize, but you can in fact get breast cancer. Very, very rare. It's not as common as what you would see in women, but they say that in a year's time, about 2,500 men develop breast cancer. So obviously much less common than the 1 in 8 stat that you get with women who will develop that in their lifetime, but certainly a concern. So in a man's case, you feel a lump, don't assume it's nothing. It could be something.
Right.
Now we're specifically talking about women here. So are there some ways for women to kind of do a self breast exam? And we don't want to, I'll put a chart up there of exactly how that's done, but is there a way to do that? Okay.
We recommend that at least once a month, to know yourself, to know your breast. And for those that have all those lumpy, bumpy breast, that good, thick, fibrocystic breast, we recommend trying every day, say for a month, know yourself, and then go with once a month to see what's new and what's not new.
Now, with early detection, another thing you might find interesting is that the 5-year survival rate, if breast cancer is detected early, 90%, which is very high in medical terms. So the fact is, if you detect it early, in all likelihood, you're going to survive. And that's why it's so important that you women, and you men, if you find a lump or something, that you get an exam and have that checked out. You mentioned it earlier, but here's another fun fact. Women who have close blood relatives with breast cancer have an extremely higher risk. Having a first-degree relative, mother, sister, or daughter with breast cancer almost doubles your risk. That's the fact. So it's just like you said earlier, you may want to start getting that mammogram a lot earlier in life than you would normally if you have a family history of it, because your risk is doubled, and the risk is already 1 in 8. So now it's become 1 in 4. So that is huge. But one thing that I wanted to do today, Wendi, and I thank you very much for coming on, but is I just wanted to kind of spotlight something that, being that we're married, been married a good long time, some 22 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Whew, I guess
I started Women's Day right before we got married.
Yeah, so we've been married a good long time, and breast cancer was something that, when we got married, Wendi was a mammographer and x-ray tech. I don't know if you'd gotten into mammography yet. It may have been a year after we got married, but you were certainly an x-ray tech at that point. And so it's been a part of my life as much as it's been a part of your life, because every day that you come home, obviously, work comes home with you. And I just pick up on things. You might leave flyers sitting on the table and things like that. So it's become a very important charity in my mind as well. And Breast Cancer Month has been something I've always wanted to highlight. I knew it was important to you, which made it important to me. So I'm glad that you came on today to kind of educate some of the women here locally, because probably the number one question I get from people that know that we're married is, I saw that bus in Denham Springs, or I saw that bus in Watson, and how do I contact your wife to get a mammogram, all those sorts of things. So fortunately, we covered some of those questions today. It's not as hard as you think. It's essentially real easy. If you got any questions, you see that van, knock on the door. Go knock on the door. They'll be glad to answer anything you have. You can certainly call Women's Hospital's Breast Center.
Yeah,
I'm sure they can answer.
Call, if you want to call, make an appointment, you can call 924-8391. Tell them you want to get on the bus. You can tell them what city you want to go in, or ask them, tell them where you live and see where we're at that's close to you.
Absolutely. And I do want to take a minute, and you can see these balloons on the set behind me. Those were made by Balloon Mania. Jennifer at Balloon Mania made those, and she does all kinds of balloon designs. I'm going to have her on the podcast one day and we'll talk about those. But Balloon Mania does things for corporate events. They do things for podcasts where they have special episodes just like this one. And I think she did just a beautiful job. Do you?
I love it. Love it. She did great.
She did great. And so look her up. Look up Jennifer at Balloon Mania on Facebook. Wendi, how can folks find Women's Hospital on the internet if they want to get more information?
www.womans.org.
Womans.org. For more information on Women's Hospital, you can certainly, I'm going to link.
It should list our sites on there too, I do believe.
Yeah, there you go. So you can even go on their site to find out the sites that these mobile mammography, the mobile mammography coach will be at. So you can get your mammogram, because it's not just Livingston Parish. It goes all over Louisiana, all over South Louisiana.
We go about, I think we have 17 different parishes we go to.
17 different parishes. So if you're watching this and you're in Lafourche Parish, they probably coming somewhere close to you. So check them out. Go on there. You can look it up. I brought you some gifts today.
You know I like goodies.
So in honor of breast cancer awareness, I wanted to present you with this Farrell Calhoun We Love Pink October Breast Cancer Awareness Month t-shirt. And that's for you. And that's all you get because all the other stuff you already have.
No.
You just take it.
Whatever.
Trust me.
Please go out and get your mammogram. We are here to help save your life.
There you go. And we thank you for that. We really do. I do want to thank McHugh David for his engineering of this podcast. My guest for today, Wendi Chapman of Women's Hospital, the Livingston Parish News for the space, and you viewers and listeners for your support. As I've said in a few subsequent episodes, I am blessed. I am in number 48 out of the top 50 in the hot 50 list for podcasting throughout the land. Can you believe that, Wendi Chapman?
I'm excited.
People other than you want to listen to me.
I know, huh?
I know that.
Great.
I know that's amazing to you, but it does happen. Yes, so I am number.
Proud of you.
I know you. I know she is. Thank you very much, because the special thing about that is you actually had to vote for me. You had to go and actually fill out Local Leaders, the podcast, and put my name, Jim Chapman. In order for that vote to even count, I have talked to some other podcasters. You know, there's over 1 million podcasts worldwide. Only 50 of those were on this list. And while there's a lot of podcasts out there that we've all know of and we all heard of, this list is for those podcasts that have not necessarily broken out into the Joe Rogans of the world of podcasting and things like that. So it kind of helps us when, we're trying to springboard into that next level. And I thank all of you for voting for me for that. Please follow me on all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Spread the word on Local Leaders, the podcast. I would like to thank my sponsors for this show as well. I simply could not do any of this without all of you. If you're interested in sponsoring Local Leaders, the podcast, or appearing on the podcast, you can reach out to me at jim@paintpodcast.com. If you're interested in getting the newsletter, The Weekly Leader, straight to your inbox, I'm attaching a link in the description of this podcast where you can sign up completely free. And until next time, I am Jim Chapman, reminding you to love your community, support local business, and keep leading. BJ Pawn and Gun has been servicing the Livingston Parish community since 1990. If you need it, there's a good chance BJ Pawn has it. So go see them in Denham Springs. They're a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. Triton Healthcare, located at 8128 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, offers a wide range of physical therapy services for a number of chronic and acute ailments. Whether it's sports injuries, injuries from accidents, or neurological disorders, Triton Healthcare can take care of it. They offer post-surgery rehab services, which is a specialized sports medicine program, and massage, as well as occupational and speech language therapies. So check out Triton Healthcare, who has been an active part of the Livingston Parish community since 1999 and are dedicated to providing the very best and rehabilitative care to all Livingston Parish residents. They can be reached at 225-791-8666, and they are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Do you need cash? Do you want to consolidate debt? Premier Credit can help. They provide quick and confidential loans for any reason. Their service is same day, and most loans are approved within minutes. You can apply in person or by the phone. Their experienced and knowledgeable loan professionals will leave you feeling confident that your loan is being properly handled in a secure manner. Premier Credit can be reached at 225-667-8100, or you can email WeSayYes@premiercredit.com, or stop by and spin the wheel at 139 Del Norte Avenue in Denham Springs. They're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woo-hooer, a hand clapper, a high-fiver? I kind of like the high-five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.